This One's Wife, Invictus Turmoil. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. Hey up, trouble at mill. Aye, appears to be trouble at Invictus Games. How do we know this? Well, the Daily Mail, through Martin Robinson, tells us that there are particular problems going on in that regard. The headline reads, Prince Harry's Invictus Games is thrown into chaos as two top chiefs are sacked. As insiders warn staff, morale is at an all-time low and claim event is over budget despite $30 million government grant. Prince Harry's next Invictus Games in Canada, a country loved by him and this one's wife, is in turmoil after two senior executives were dismissed for no apparent reason, with just over a year to go, a whistleblower told Mail Online. The Invictus Games will be held in Vancouver and Whistler in February 2025 and will feature winter sports for the first time. But Mail Online can exclusively reveal that CEO Peter Lawless, a lawyer and arguably Canada's most respected Olympic and Paralympic administrator, has left his job abruptly. An insider has claimed that Mr. Lawless, who was awarded the Diamond Jubilee Medal by Harry's grandmother, the Queen, in 2012, was fired, and morale among staff is now at an all-time low. An Invictus Games spokesman declined to comment on whether he was sacked, instead saying he had been transitioned out. Sounds like he's been sacked to me, and was no longer an employee but will remain an ambassador. Also leaving the Vancouver Whistler team is Bill Cooper, who was in the role of Chief Commercial Officer for 10 months until he left in October. He has thanked colleagues for their support after several praised his grace and accused Invictus 2025 of making a big mistake by getting rid of him. One Games volunteer said that staff are concerned that these recent moves will again overshadow this incredible event for our veterans. Now, talking about overshadowing the event, we all know that from Dusseldorf back in September, This One's Wife sought to make it This One's Wife's Games and engaged in the quite simply disgusting stolen valour behaviour of marching ahead of the veterans with a smug rictus grin on her stupid face. Concerns have also been raised that the Sussex's security and other costs may put a strain on Games finances if Invictus 2025 has to pick up the bill. Naturally, the Sussexes, who aren't exactly flush at the moment, look to pump their costs through other organisations, such as Archwell and the Invictus Games. This, of course, accords with the sense of entitlement of This One's Wife, namely, she deems that it's appropriate for organisations to bear the cost of her because, after all, she is the amazing This One's Wife and people should pay for the privilege of her company. He said that the 2025 Games is facing financial concerns, a claim denied by an Invictus spokesman, despite the governments of Canada and British Columbia having pledged to spend almost £20 million to stage the Games. The whistleblower said CEO Peter Lawless and Chief Commercial Officer Bill Cooper were dismissed for no apparent reason. This is a significant setback, with just over a year to deliver the Games, which I'm told are well over budget, and no plan to close the gap even after securing $30 million in government support from the province of British Columbia and the Canadian federal government. The volunteer claims that the departure of CEO and the Chief Commercial Officer has caused disquiet internally. He said, as you can expect, the morale among the staff and volunteers is at an all-time low, and Prince Harry and his wife have become a significant distraction with all their troubles. And this, of course, highlights the fundamental problem that you have in relation to This One's Wife and Harry. He's a patron of the organisation. She's a Klingon. These individuals should be there to add value, that they should generate interest, that they should encourage people to donate money to the cause, that they highlight the events so that people attend, tickets are sold, merchandise is sold. The reason that you hire a high-profile individual to be associated with your product or organisation is to ensure that it increases the profile to assist with it monetarily. That's why advertisers often will recruit somebody famous, an actor or an actress, to be associated with their product because that person is popular. So David Beckham and Lionel Messi were involved with Pepsi. That, for instance, George Clooney has been involved with Nespresso. So that people think, oh, gorgeous George, I really like him. Gosh, if he's promoting Nespresso, I think I might get one. Ooh, Nespresso, yes. If George is involved with it, it's really something of the A-listers, isn't it? So maybe I would like one as well because I like George. Cool, I'm going to drink Pepsi because Lionel Messi does and David Beckham does. Great, think all the kids. These people come and they add value. They have an excellent public image which is harnessed by advertisers. The problem that this one's wife has is that she's seen as toxic. Not only does she not bring anything to the party, but she actually takes away from it because she makes it all about her. And people become frustrated and annoyed with those behaviours. Her conduct in Dusseldorf with the multiple changes of clothing and the ridiculous marching in front of the veterans brought widespread condemnation. That does not raise the profile of Invictus. Indeed, it makes it look like a laughingstock. And it took completely away from the brave competitors that were involved and made it all about her, the antithesis of what the games are about. The whistleblower continued by explaining, as volunteers, we are concerned that these recent moves will again overshadow this incredible event for our veterans. Enough already. Mail Online approached the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to comment on the departures and whether they were involved in the decision to terminate the employment of Lawless and Cooper. Their spokesman was also asked if Harry and this one's wife cover their own travel, accommodation and security costs during Invictus. The last one being held in Dusseldorf, Germany in September. Prince Harry's deep rift with his family cast a shadow over the Invictus Games, veterans caught up in the raw crossfire claimed this year. The Duke of Sussex's time with the army in Afghanistan inspired him to launch the sporting event in 2014, but the Prince and Princess of Wales were central to its initial success. 9 years ago, Harry, his father and brother stood united as they attended the opening ceremony and multiple events at the Games in London. But the new king and his heir have had zero involvement since Harry met this one's wife. Again, another instance of this one's wife's polluting influence affecting something that was dear to Harry and causing it to start to struggle. All of this results in difficulties and demonstrates once again that if you add this one's wife to the mix, problems will follow. Whilst it's entirely unclear as to whether she had any involvement in these decisions, it shows that the Invictus Games are having another image difficulty, something precipitated by this one's wife. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.